Goal of the 9-yard line. Hamilton keeps it. Touchdown.
It's your boy One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart, and right beside me is my man Joe Hamilton. This is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham, and as we do every show when we start, or at least when I'm a part of it, we got to thank God every minute of every day. Good morning, Joe Ham. How are you, sir?
Outstanding. You know, I'm searching for words now, man, because it's outstanding, spectacular, amazing. I'm looking for other superlatives, but I'm doing great, man. And Stu, we have it. It's here now.
It's here.
There's no more longing for football. And everybody can say that, you know, it's not real football. Yes, it is.
Oh, it's real.
Somebody
it's
can
real.
say that the games don't count. Oh, yes,
Listen,
it does.
There was an injury last week in the preseason game with Detroit and Atlanta in Atlanta where they shut the game down. Mm-hmm. The injury was so bad and so devastating that it was one of those times where the EMS van comes out on the field, where all the players link up and hold hands and pray together so they can give their comrade and their peer that's injured best wishes and thoughts and prayers to the Lord. So it's for those who say it ain't real, man, y'all better stop it.
Boy, it's absolutely real. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I want to give a quick shout out to Dan Campbell. Right, Dan Campbell and Raheem Morris for coming together, especially Raheem Morris. That's his team. He's the host. They're playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. To see something like that happen on a football field, to know that those guys' mind is not in it. Dan Campbell, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, he's a physical player, physical coach. He understands the game. Raheem Morris, he's a former player. He understands the game. Everybody wants to get reps and know the evaluation. But there's no way guys are going to go back out there and not playing timid because you know that's when injuries happen more often than not. When you playing timid, when you're not going all in. Yep. So for them to come to wait on the NFL, wait on the league office to say, nah, you know, we're going to let this time run out and we're not going to really play to our safety. I think he needs to be shouted to the head coaches in the NFL for acting swiftly, in my opinion.
Just that quick, the show rundown has changed because I've got a question I need to ask you. But it is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I am One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder to make sure that tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, you catch the Two Live Stews and the Two Live Stews experience right here on Stewart Media and Entertainment. Joe, that wasn't where we were going to start off, and absolutely. I'm sure that everybody that's watching probably understands exactly where we are going to start off. We're going to start off talking about Deion Sanders and Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders. But before we get to that, we just talked about the injury that wasn't part of the show, that wasn't part of the plan. My question to you, man, is was that game in Atlanta last week the major reason why they shouldn't have these preseason games at all? There's been a lot of talk about that lately. We've gone to 4, down to 3 now. We've gone from starters really only playing in the first game to not playing in many others. Give me your thoughts on preseason football to the point where you see injuries like we saw last week.
Well, you have to get it done. You have to go through preseason. All right, Stu, you have to have it. Not so much of you, but my career, my lasting in the league to get vested was all about preseason games. It was all about reps. It was all about getting out there and showing what you're able to do because you don't get enough of opportunities to show guys what you can do in practice. So, yeah, injuries happen. The name is missing me now from the Buffalo Bills that got injured years back, a couple years back. No. I'm talking about professionally. He got injured professionally, and they stopped the game. It was Monday Night Football. You know, God, it's on the top of your head.
Was it Reggie Brown in Detroit when I was there over 30 years ago?
No, I'm talking about recently, 2 years ago. Stu, with the guy from the Buffalo Bills. Went down.
Oh, Hamlin.
Yeah, there you go. Hamlin. Yeah. So there you go. So that happened in the game. So yeah, you're gonna say you'd rather happen during the regular season when the game counts other side of preseason, but it's something I really can't answer for you, Stu, because you look at Jordan Love. Look at Jordan Love in a preseason game. He's your known starter. he had to have surgery on his non-throwing thumb.
Right.
So and then you got guys that like Joe Burrow is starting their preseason game because they want to make sure they hit the ground running, and you got momentum, and somehow somewhat of chemistry. So I can't answer that, Stu, but I will say that I don't think he's irrelevant. Right. I don't think that you should do away with it because there's so much evaluation. It's so much ramp up time. And I'll finish it with this. I much rather what the Cleveland Browns or the Philadelphia Eagles are doing right now. I much rather that than preseason games. And what that is a joint practice between guys to where you have a head coach. So the Cleveland Browns went up to Pennsylvania, and they're doing joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles. Right. Now, that means that Nick Sirianni and Kevin Stefanski, they can orchestrate game plans, practice plans. We're going to do red zone for so many periods. We're going to do backed up coming out.
Third and 8 plus. Yeah, just all that.
Blitz packages or blitz periods. So you can orchestrate what you want to orchestrate and get game speed. I rather that than live running down there and actually playing another team. If you want to do away with something, you have to keep the inner squad scrimmage.
I agree. In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm your boy One Life Stu Ryan Stewart. Okay, man, didn't mean to get started off there, but let's go ahead and get into the meat of this thing, man.
Yeah.
Joe, I made a couple of posts on social media last Thursday. Somehow the kids usually have practice. Morgan has practice from 6 to 7:30. Mason have practice from 8 to 9:30. And that's, I'm gonna be on the soccer field, but it's okay. I got my citronella candles. I got my chair. I got my wagon. I got a little cooler that's got some water in it, some Gatorade. I got my phone. I got my battery charger, and I got my laptop. I got my umbrella to block myself from the sun. I am good. Listen. I know. Okay, Daddy duty is going to require me to be on the soccer field Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday and Sunday. I know that, so I tend to have everything that I need while I'm out there. Okay. Now, I tell you all that to say, last Thursday, somehow, divine intervention, Morgan's practice gets canceled. Mason's practice gets canceled. Morgan doesn't have tennis. So here we go where I go pick the kids up from school and everybody's done. I come home, get them settled, clean myself up, go to my boy's crib to watch a preseason NFL game. I made the post while driving over there. Hey, I just want y'all to know football season's back. I'm really excited. Laugh at me. I'm driving to my homie's crib to watch a preseason game.
Yeah.
Point A. Point B. I get to my homie's crib. He's got 2 or 3 other people over there. He's got 2 coolers of beer. He's got wings. He's got pizza. He's got balloons floating in the house.
Was it somebody's birthday?
No birthday.
Balloons?
No regular season game between Detroit and Green Bay. No regular season game between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. A preseason game. A preseason game that we proceeded to watch as if it was the NFL freaking Super Bowl. I want your take and your thoughts, and thank you for allowing me to get all that out because I was beyond excited.
No,
we were screaming at this TV like it was the Super Bowl. Joe, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Shador, but please start wherever you see fit to start because this is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham.
Well, what you alluded to is where I'm going to start is that the magnitude and the cachet and the attention – name.
Hold on. Let me come back. I'm sorry. We're gonna have dialogue here. This ain't gonna be no.
Yes.
Sorry. This ain't no monologue.
No.
I mean, what the feelings that I experienced last Thursday was none like any preseason game I've ever experienced in my life. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to look at you too as well. Let me tell you this, Stu. The magnitude of that name. That it start right there. The magnitude, and I'm not just talking about what happened in the draft. I'm not talking about 5th round and he
just
collusion.
Sanders.
Rewind back to last year. It was same thing. Now, although Travis Hunter was there and his dad was there, Shedeur Sanders carried that kind of recognition. It carries that cachet. And he plays what? Quarterback. So he's going to multiply that.
Right.
And so now on Thursday, last week Thursday, I think it was Friday, that you saw a guy that everybody wanted to see. And when you a global guy like Shedeur Sanders is becoming or is, they're going to be rude. You got
it was Friday, not Thursday. It was Friday. I stand corrected. It was Friday. Okay, go ahead.
No problem. And then when you look at it, just as many people tuned in like you did and I did to root him as tuned in for him to fail, for him to not be successful, for him to let that pass rush get to him, for him to let the pressure, because let's not gloom or gloss over that.
Right.
This guy was facing immense pressure because how does he win? How does he win, Stu? If he does well, or it's just a preseason going against backup. If he fails,
he's in a win-less situation, Joe.
Win-less situation.
There was nothing he could do to come out on top last Friday night.
I like to play this game in preseason with guys, especially quarterbacks, to see if they belong, Stu. If his name wasn't Shedeur Sanders, he didn't have anything on the back of his jersey and just paint him purple for, just argument's sake. He looks like a quarterback that belonged in the National Football League.
No question.
I mean, as far as his mannerism,
right.
The huddle command, the poise, the accuracy. And by the way, you would not have said that this is a rookie playing his first NFL game.
Right.
And that was with limited reps.
With limited reps. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about all that in the huddle because Joe just said a mouthful. You mentioned something just now about the people that were tuned in. You mentioned just now, or I mentioned how my buddy had other friends over and had wings and pizza and stuff, and balloons, okay? Sir, 2.23 million people viewed last Friday night's game. It was a Friday night. However, the NFL Network had the #1 TV program of the entire night. 70,000 plus in the stadium for a preseason game and over 2.2 million viewers watching around the world. Joey, it was not just a preseason game. People tuned in. Okay, listen, we talked about it a second ago. Justin Fields had a game. Jackson Dart had a game. Cam Ward had a game. You mentioned several other players that had a game. Drake May had a game.
Tyler Shark
had a game.
Matter of fact, Shedeur Sanders played Bryce Young, the former #1 overall pick from a few years back.
Right. 2.2 million people watched. Joe, you're right. It's the name. But not only is it the name, Joe, if I couldn't see their faces or if there were no numbers on the jersey, as you just alluded to, I would say that guy right there is not a rookie. No, that guy's been here before.
It would be like, to me, I would say, well, who's the starter? If this guy looks this good, if this guy's performing 2 touchdowns, accurate passing, scrambling for a first down on third down, well, who's the starter? Who's better than this guy? And you look at it, Stu, with those numbers you just read or you just showed on the screen. What if the game was on NBC?
Right.
Everybody doesn't have NFL Network.
Right.
What if the game was on NBC, man? What if the game was on something that everybody could easily get to? So when you look at it, Stu, because of so many viewers watch that game, they're paying attention to Shedeur Sanders and what he puts or what he exhibits on the football field. Kevin Stefanski and his staff, they better be very careful how they handle this situation. Right. Because and I'm talking to other players. Other players are looking. When you talk about free agency, when you're talking about guys re-signing, guys wanting to play with your franchise, if you mess this up, if a guy in Shedeur Sanders or anybody else can say, I gave it all I can give, I did exactly what they wanted me to do, I improved and each day at practice, and then I went out there at game time and even got better and still getting better, and I still couldn't move on the depth chart.
Right.
What's happening? Guys are watching that situation, Stu.
I'm glad you took it there because that's exactly where we're about to go. It is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham on One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder, catch the Two Live Stews tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock right here on Stewart Media and Entertainment's platform on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. Ham.
Yes, sir.
I'm upset. I'm low-key pissed off that the depth chart came out and Shedeur was still at number 4. Okay, my question to you as a former NFL pro, my question to you as a quarterback, my question to you as a former coach, okay, is does that depth chart that came out a couple of days ago that has Shedeur Sanders still at the 4th quarterback on the depth chart, does that depth chart matter at all? And am I rightly aligned for being pissed off, or should I not even pay it any attention?
Well, you should be pissed off, Stu, highly pissed off, if the answer to this question I'm about to ask myself and you is yes. And that question is, did Kevin Stefanski and his staff rearrange anybody on the depth chart?
No.
Was that no? I'm talking about any other position. Okay. So so is the wide receiver position status quo? Offensive line, if it didn't move across the board, you should not be pissed off at all.
So we don't have that information. I probably can find that information before we get off the show. But what you're saying is, as long as the depth chart that was released a couple of days ago is the exact same depth chart as it was a week prior to that game. If it's the same depth chart from last week, who cares?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's me. That's me right there. That's me. But if I see any change, if anybody played their way into getting more reps, moving up on the depth chart or down on the depth chart with any other position, then your being pissed is valid. Because, and not only that, Stu, I want to add to that.
Please.
I'm going to give Kevin Stefanski so much respect as a coach, let alone the depth chart. If it stays the same, if he's not ready to mix up the quarterback room, there's got to be some mix-ups today at practice. Today, they're doing that joint practice with the Philadelphia Eagles we talked about earlier. If Shedeur Sanders didn't earn more reps than what he did last Friday, today, Wednesday morning in a joint practice, that's alarming, and that's sending a bad message. And if I'm Shedeur Sanders, I'm very frustrated at it.
Joe, let me ask you a question. Stefanski, right after the game, I don't think it was the post-game press conference.
He's playing games with me with that, Stu. And I don't like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if it was the post-game presser or if it was the following day after the game. But when asked if Shedeur would move up or be the number 1 quarterback, I believe his comments were something along the lines of, we're still evaluating all of our quarterbacks. Joe, with the way they've treated him and the way they've done this kid prior to now and how they dropped him from where he should have been drafted in our minds all the way to 144, how the owner comes out last week and says, I had nothing to do with him being here. That wasn't my selection.
Yeah.
Doesn't Stefanski kind of owe him some conversation in that presser, Joe? Doesn't he have to say something other than we're still evaluating all our quarterbacks? What does that do from a psyche standpoint to the other players and for Shedeur, that the head coach clearly was doing all he could, not to mention the achievements of one Shedeur Sanders?
It's frustrating, Stu. That's a great point you just made. That's a great point. And what happens with Shedeur, his shoulders does this just a tad bit. Man, what else do I have to do? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, I know I graded myself a C+. I know I told my dad I'm sorry because I didn't live up to what he and I talked about on the phone as far as dominating. You know, I know I had left some, plays out there. I didn't play all the way up to Shedeur Sanders like playing. But goodness, Coach Stefanski, say that, something to put my confidence, not that it's lacking, but show a little that attaboy to me. Right. Show a little at least to the media somewhat. But it shows that, Coach Stefanski is somewhat towing the company line. He doesn't want to stick his neck up there too far, which he should, and he can. Can he? When will he take on the role of, this is our guy that we're developing, and I'm very, very happy for him. Look at the product I just put out there. Look how we've been working with Shedeur Sanders.
I hate to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I almost wish he would have been like, look, there's nothing that Shedeur can do to be our starter game 1. that job is going to go to Joe Flacco, whether he gets reps this preseason or not. Shador will not be our number one. But with me saying that, we are beyond proud and elated at what we saw on the film on yesterday.
Yeah.
We know that Joe is the one that Shador could probably watch and learn and be mentored by. He can be somewhat of an apprentice too as we go into the season to make sure that he is going to be in a position to play his best ball if we ask him to get the ball, because the job is Joe Flacco's. I almost would rather that, Joe.
Yeah, I can hear Negative Ned talking to you and I right now about, come on, Ryan. Come on, Joseph.
No.
This is the NFL. Why must we baby this guy and get in the media and pat him on the shoulder?
You see that he could be your guy, though. You see that he's not just another quarterback. You see that there's some trace that says we may want this guy around for the whole future.
I want to say something to you. I want to get your take on this, Stu, because I'm really thinking about this. I think right now that Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, take him aside a little bit, take him off the conversation, because I think he's going to get beat out. I think he's going to be the guy that gets cut, Kenny Pickett. But Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders, I think it's even now. I'm not looking no more as far as third round and fifth round pick. And the reason why I say that, Stu, is because there is a difference between you making sure that first round pick and that second round pick, if you drafted them, get their reps, making sure that you're right as a GM. I can develop this guy. But when it gets to a third round pick and a fifth round pick at quarterback, and what Shador just did. Now, I wouldn't have said this last Wednesday before Shador performed on Friday. Right. But now once Shador performed on Friday, the confidence, the swag, to be able to do what he does that we've all seen on film. And Dylan Gabriel hadn't shown anything yet, limited in practice, didn't play his preseason game. I don't think you force feed him those reps as being a third stringer like you would normally do. So I think that's a little bit more. If I'm judging Kevin Stefanski right, that's what I think it should be done, or how it should go.
I talked about it a little on Monday's show, the Two Last Twos experience with Doug. Shador versus Gabriel. You just mentioned reps 2 or 3 times. Joe, tell the total novice that is uneducated or unaware of how reps may go down in a practice, or what reps mean to a player, or what a third round pick would get rep-wise versus a fifth round pick versus a first round pick versus a Peyton Manning or a starter. Talk to the people that may not understand fully what the reps situation is right now between Shador and Gabriel in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's a big time point, and I think that's very important for guys or the listeners to understand. If you have a specific period, say you at red zone period, there's normally 12 plays. Normally 12 plays in that period. The starter, in this case, Joe Flacco is going to get 4 reps. All right, Kenny Pickett, then second string guy, he's going to get 3 reps. That's 7. And then the third string reps is going to 2, and the fourth string rep is going to go to 2. All right, or maybe 3 and then 2. Now, that's not saying that Dylan Gabriel will get all those reps. If Joe Flacco is anything like Peyton Manning, he might take 8 first-team reps, and then it's only left with 4 more to divvy up between 3 quarterbacks. So when you look at it in training camps, Stu, there might be 16 plays in a period.
Okay.
All right, to where the starters might get 8 and they might say first team back up. But let's not think that Dylan Gabriel can tell his dad, come on down and watch me practice because I'm getting a lot of reps.
No.
Because I'm getting a lot of reps. So his reps in a particular period of 15 minutes probably he's getting 4, Shador's getting 2. He's getting 5, Shador's getting 4. And at cleanup, mop-up duty, they're getting reps. And then the worst feeling ever is when you're going, because I was there taking third and fourth string reps, and when the offensive coordinator fast forward your rep. You've been there, Stu. You've been there late in camp, 9:30, finishing up the film together, watching it, and everybody wants to get out to get their snacks, get back to the bedroom, play video games or what have you. Right. And the coach is saying, hey, that was just a run. That was just outside zone. Y'all catch up and watch that tomorrow. hey, coach, you're not even evaluating me? I mean, come on. How can I make this team? So it's very, very frustrating in that sense. And even that, Stu,
and you mentioned the film. Please keep on.
To me, and I'm talking about with skin in the game, with feelings and empathy for Shedeur Sanders. That's why his performance was so impressive to me. I know how much reps he took. I know it was very, very limited. To be able to move in that pocket, to be able to have the the ability to get guys out of bad plays into good plays, avoid the rush, be accurate. That was amazing, man.
And win a
really
game.
Amazing.
And win a game. You mentioned the film, Joe. That's when everybody gets coached. The good coaches go through every play of every game, and they coach each player on every snap. Yes. Now, maybe the defensive coordinator only highlights five players throughout the course of one play. But that's where you get highlighted for making a good play. You get graded a plus or minus for that play. Sir. That's where the coach says, okay, everybody look at the left cornerback. Everybody look at the boundary corner. Everybody look at the field corner. Hey, guys, look at what the Mike linebacker did here. Yeah. Yeah. So when you get to your one or two plays for an entire period and the coach fast forwards it, it doesn't talk about it, doesn't show it to others, doesn't show it to you, doesn't coach you, doesn't tell anybody during those plays what's right or wrong, man, it pisses you the hell off.
Yes, man, you're preaching now, Stu. That's reality. That's reality. And you can imagine how many times that Shedeur Sanders went through that. Right. Come on. I mean, he didn't want his dad to come to practice. See, we're not believing this thing up. No. We're not trying to win the argument. We're not trying to say that. I mean, I told you about Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders did not do anything that you and I and his believers and the guys that rightly watched film, rightly analyzed his bag of work or his body of work. Right. He didn't surprise anybody.
No, Joe. No.
He did it. He did it. For anybody on the outside to make an educated guess that says, man, Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. Right. That's not way far-fetched. Right.
Okay. Come on. We're not going to stay in the depth chart. This is In the Huddle with Johan. We do have some other topics to get into. But in your opinion, Joe, because Doug and I dug into this on Monday. We talked about it a lot. So make sure you get everything off your chest about it. And in your opinion, moving forward, what should Stefanski be doing when it comes to the betterment of the team? What should Stefanski be doing right now when it comes to putting his team in the best position to win at that quarterback position?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, he should immediately show those guys that Shedeur Sanders earned some reps on Friday night. And whoever on that football team that did well, that was battling for more reps, that they're earning more reps. That's the number one. That's going to go throughout that quarterback room and the whole team. And in particular with the quarterback room, he is trying to find his number two quarterback. He wanted to be Kenny Pickett because when Kenny Pickett got drafted, I think it was 16th overall, maybe 23rd to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he's a backup quarterback. He's a lifelong backup quarterback. That's what he's shown. So you're trying to find between Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders who can be my second string quarterback. That's it. And with that, you are mixing those guys in with the first team. You're mixing because I'm a firm believer that Joe Flacco is not going to finish this entire season. It can be a number of things, not injury, injury.
We debated this for a little while yesterday. Let's take them behind the scenes real quick. Joe and I, the one bad thing about their show that we do, is it has cut our communications and our conversations throughout the course of the week. There may be one call, there may be two calls throughout the course of the week. Where back in the day before we started doing this, there was 5 to 7 calls. So yesterday when we were talking about that, you and I kind of talked about that and got into that. You know, I mean, go ahead and say what you're going to say, but I did want to highlight that because we had that conversation on yesterday.
Yeah, and you enlightened me to Joe Flacco. I'm thinking Joe Flacco is a guy that's going to get banged up. And no, he's not a guy that's going to get banged up. He's a warrior. He's an Iron Man. He's a warrior, but he might not play well. He's not playing. Might not play well. And if Shedeur Sanders continues to do this, Stu, and I expect he's going to, I suspect he's going to continue to progress, continue to work with his footwork, his timing, everything. He's going to earn more reps with this number 1, number 2 wide receivers. number 2 offensive line. And then all of a sudden, who's going to start? Who's going to come in when Joe Flacco only plays three series or 3 plays of the next preseason game? Because you are in agreement that Joe Flacco, out of these 3 preseason games, he needs to start one of them, right?
Well, that's one of the questions I'm going to talk to you about.
So let's say he doesn't. Let's say he doesn't. If Kenny Pickett does not get back on this football field, if he doesn't practice and get his reps up to where they need to be, and you decide to sit Joe Flacco because he's a veteran, because he's seen all the defenses, known the man, that he's going to be game ready, Shedeur Sanders is going to start. And Shedeur Sanders is going to start with not just the 3rd and 4th stringers. He's going to start with primetime guys. So it's going to enhance his evaluation just a little bit more, brother. So Shedeur Sanders is set up, and if Kevin Stefanski will do the right thing according to reps and production and getting better, that's my eyesight. That's what I'm looking forward to.
In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm with your boy One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. I want to move off Shedeur, but two more quick things.
I love it, man. I love it.
Quick things before we do that, okay? Joe, we talked about the success that Shedeur had. He missed some passes. I believe he missed 2 players that were wide open. He had 3 balls dropped. So that right there is 5 more catches on the 14 that he had. It could have been 19 for 23, okay? That's neither here nor there.
No.
My question to you is, talk about the significance of the players that Shedeur was out there with. Shedeur didn't have the Cleveland Browns starting backfield behind him. Shedeur didn't have the Cleveland Browns starting number 1 and number 2 X and Z receiver out there. Shedeur didn't have a Pro Bowl Y/tight end out there at his to his abilities on the field. Shedeur didn't have the number 1 offensive line out there. Now, we don't know who Shedeur played against depth-wise defensively, but that was not the best players that he could have been equipped with for the Cleveland Browns. Talk about the significance of that.
Yeah, it's huge, Stu. It was huge. So you're going to give him a pat on the back. You're going to give him one more, check box or check mark because of the talent you were out there playing with. But I think to his benefit, though, Stu, that those guys he were throwing to on Friday night, those were the same guys he threw to doing practice with limited reps. Those are the 3rd and 4th guys as well. The backup wide receiver that you can get timing with, that after practice they ran extra with you. They helped develop some things when you asked them to line up or run this route. Those are the guys that you were able to build chemistry with. So now going forward, that chemistry is going to, should eventually creep up to the 2nd string wide receiver, to Ojoku, the number 1 tight end, to maybe Jerry Jeudy, the number 1 wide receiver. All those things are going to come alive because Joe Flacco is a veteran. Every single rep that Shedeur Sanders can eat up, he's going to eat up. Every single rep that he's going to get. And that's why I think it's so important that Kevin Stefanski made this move this week. Whoever the quarterback coach, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but offensive coordinator and the guy that calls the plays, Kevin Stefanski, he should allude to that quarterback room that we're going to have a little shift in reps. Kenny Pickett, how healthy are you? Can you run 4 reps? Dylan Gabriel, how healthy are you? Because I'm going to have to give Shedeur Sanders some more reps. And it's a big boy league. You don't shun things in the NFL like you shun things in college and massage guys up and I don't want to do this and I hate to tell you the bad news. No, you step in that meeting room just like it is on film. Shedeur Sanders has earned the eyes, earned the respect of his teammates, showed the coaches on film that he deserves more reps.
Bill Musgrave is the quarterback coach.
Oh, he's been around.
Bill
That's an easy decision for him. That's an easy talk for him to be able to like, hey, look, guys, y'all were injured. Shedeur grabbed those reps, and he made the best out of them.
Wrapping the Shedeur talk up with Joe Hamilton in the huddle with Joe Ham. I'm your boy, One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. When you've got a veteran on your team like Flacco, when you've got a veteran on your team like Aaron Rodgers, when you've got a veteran like Pittsburgh had back in the day, people kept talking about Ben Roethlisberger's time was up. Ben Roethlisberger, he's a known vet. He knows the offense. He's designed some of the plays. He's got a hand on it. How important is it for that person to be grinding during training camp, in your opinion? There were times where in Detroit, like a Robert Porcher, who was a 8 to 10 year vet, averaged 10 to 12 sacks a year. He is your defensive end. He's not competing for a position. He can come on and off the field when he wants in the National Football League, okay? No one's going to question him. No one's going to say, Robert, get out there. He comes on. No one he don't raise his hand to come up the field. He just walks off. How important is it for that guy to get those snaps, or is it okay for that guy this time of year during training camp to freaking relax?
Oh, no. How important, Stu, is so important to the tune of the Lombardi Trophy. That's how important it is, the Lombardi Trophy. When you got guys doing that, that's how important. And some names come to mind. Okay. They talked about that, like Aaron Donald. Yep. All right?
Yeah.
I watched it. I saw it, with my own two eyes in the tune of Derek Brooks. I was in training camp in one season, not the Super Bowl season, but I was in training camp in the first 3 or 4 games with Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. Those guys can do it all. They can do whatever they want to do, but they are breathing so hard during practice. They are making sure that anything that happens on the football field that they can get better on, they are exhausting themselves. Mm-hmm. So they're not on the side in the tent, even when they're not getting reps. They're right beside their position coach. What's that call? Right. And not only they get that call, they're watching their position guy. They're acting and they're making moves like they are in there physically. Yeah. So when you get that going throughout your whole entire team, that's Aaron Donald over there, and the only reason he's sitting out practice, those guys, Stuart, and you would know those guys, when they miss practice, they are forced to miss practice. It's an executive decision from the owner to the trainer to the head coach that he's going to kill himself. Let's save him from himself.
There were times where the head coach would tell one of the trainers during one of the water breaks to go get number 20's helmet.
Yeah. Yes.
There were times where, because he wanted Barry to relax, he wanted Barry to chill, he would tell the trainer, okay, while we're getting water, while we're under the tent for about 2-3 minutes, drinking Gatorade or getting cold towels, while we do that, while some of the guys are trying to stay warm on the bike, go get number 20's helmet and you keep it and put it in the storage room. He's done for the day. And even though that would get done, Barry would still go get reps sometime without his helmet on.
And multiply that, Stu, great point, and multiply that by 1 billion when it's your quarterback doing it.
Right.
1 billion. You know what I mean? It's just a work ethic. You cannot do it without it. And, with the wide receivers, and that's where we talk about chemistry. Yeah, I don't need you to actually go out there and play in a preseason, but what are you doing after practice with at least 10 routes? It sounds like this, Stu and listeners. Hey, yo, Marvin, listen, man, I know you're tired, but I need you to give me, and we're not playing in this preseason, but I need you to give me 10 full-speed reps.
Right.
All right, we're going to run this route tree, and we're going to call some plays out, and this is going to be game reps. So I'm going to drop back like it's the Super Bowl. I want you to run your route like it's the Super Bowl, and that's our work for the day. And that's outside of practice. So you might not have to play preseason, but when and where and how are you getting your work in is the key.
In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm One Live Stu Ryan Stewart, man. Before we get away from Shador, anything you want to get off your chest? Again, this is the first chance you had to talk about it on the platform with his other listeners. Anything about the next game coming up? Anything about what his week was like this week? Just close your book on the Shador talk for this show with these next few minutes, Joe.
Can you stack days? Because I'm going to keep his coach out of my mouth. Can you, with the newfound reps, the new teammates, the new expectations, continue to do what you're going to do? And prepare yourself, Shador. I'm looking for him to prepare himself to get more reps with the second team and third and second team and having projected, because the coaches are still thinking about it now, Stu. Don't you think whatever Stefanski and that coaching staff is talking about, Shador's created a buzz talk.
It's a problem now.
And that staff
there's a problem now. And that was one of the tweets that Deion put out on X. What they going to do now? What they going to say now? He made 4 or 5 tweets throughout the course of the game on Friday night. But one of them was like, what are they going to do and say now?
Bottom line, because it's real. It's real. And they cannot gloss over it because the the news, the media, they're going to do their job too well.
Right.
Shador saying his name is going to come back up constantly. So that's it. And another thing I wouldn't say, and it's not anything, no slight to me, no slight to anybody else, but Cam Ward, boy, he's on the back burner. You know what I mean? So I mean, this is unusual. We talked about it right, in OTAs and right after the draft. There's never been a less talked about number 1 overall pick than Cam Ward.
Right.
I mean, just because of Shador stuff, Jackson Dart, they'll talk about more. Tyler Shaw. I mean, they're talking about a lot more quarterbacks than Cam Ward. But he's a guy that I think with his moxie and his flair and his leadership, he's going to put up some numbers there for the Tennessee Titans.
I do think Cam Ward also had a really good game. First series wasn't all that. Ended up having like an 11, 12-minute drive. Did very well. I think Jackson Dart with New York did exceptionally well as well.
Man, goodness.
So again, Tyler was the only one that I didn't think had a good preseason game. Justin Fields, who's not a rookie, he's played for years, but he's on a new squad. He stepped in and had a very good preseason game. Now, the reason why Shador has been highlighted is because he's the one that fell 130-plus spots.
Right. Right.
He's the one that has been tagged to be 4th or 5th on this depth chart. He's the one that's not getting any reps. For him to do and perform the way that he did, not getting the bulk of the reps, it is something that deserves to be talked about. Before we move on from the quarterbacks and into some college football, any comments on Cam Ward other than what you made? Any comments on Jackson Dart? Any comments on the other rookies that had preseason games this past week?
Beautiful. Well done, man. They are in their playbook. The moment is not too big. And Jackson Dart. No, Cam Ward, I must say this. He's going to have that C on his chest. He's already the leader of that football team. The respect that he garnered right away is exceptional. It's something to be, to watch. But he's got to take some of that cowboy out of his game. He's got to take some of the heroics. I'm running around. I'm patting the ball. It's got to be rhythm. It's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ball out. And Calvin Ridley will help him with that. Jackson Dart, man. I love Russell Wilson. I love Russell Wilson in the deep ball, air it out, let Russ cook. Woo-wee. Do you think the Giants are going anywhere? And I think that you give Russ the first half of the season, and if the Giants are out of the playoff picture, I think you make that change. That's what Dart is showing me. Dart is showing me to the likes of a Josh Allen type trajectory. Skill set, brother. I don't know how it's going to go with, the moxie, the way, getting hit and lead. Skill set is somewhat of a Josh Allen, my brother.
Russell Wilson got in that game, and we all know he could be a check down Charlie.
Yes,
he was check down Charlie now. And I like Russell. I thought Russell was done wrong the year before
in the Broncos
with Sean Payton.
Yes.
I thought Russell could have done a little bit better, but did not do bad last year with Pittsburgh. But with Jackson Dart having the debut that he had in a New York Giant uniform, not getting the bulk of the reps, Russell's not going to be able to come in there. Jameis neither. They're not going to be able to come in there and hit 5 running backs in the flats and 1 or 2 quick curl routes and think that's going to be enough. Jackson Dart is showing them that I'm not afraid to put that ball down the field, and y'all got to play if y'all want me not to get this job. I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Dart has another outing like he had in this next preseason game and gets moved into the number 1 guy. Why not?
Ooh. Hey, listen, I was close to saying it. I was close to doing it. It's hard to do it. I'm very close because what will you do to the vets at that point, Stu, is my only concern about, are you just punting on the season right away before we even start the season? And that's not saying Jackson Dart couldn't be a C.J. Stroud or a Jaden Daniels in his first year. But I made that correlation with Josh Allen for a reason. Brian Daboll, the head coach, that's the connection. That's why when you say he passed up on Shador saying this, whatever you want to say about that, he targeted Jackson Dart because he was there with Josh Allen and saw the skill set and saw what Josh Allen could do and the whole stress he puts, or that type player puts on a defense, and that's his prodigy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he give Russ the first quarter, first 4 games, first 6 games, and if it's below 500 and Russ is not playing well, He's gonna tap that wrist like they do in baseball.
You're right. You're right. You're right. And you know what, Joe? You mentioned Dayball. That's the reason why Russ will get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Dayball's future as the head coach of the Giants is riding on this season, possibly.
Yes, sir.
I don't think if he goes to Jackson Dart and Jackson Dart doesn't have success, I don't think that they're going to be like, okay, because he's a rookie quarterback, we'll give you another year. He needs to show significant improvement this year.
Yep.
And I think for his future and
Yep.
the other coaches on that staff, for their future, they'll probably be better served to trust Russell Wilson with that ball on the gridiron than Jackson Dart.
Yep. And for the record, Stu, I've always been a fan, if you can, to let that rookie sit a little bit.
I agree.
If you can. Now, so I don't want to get it construed or misconstrued with Jaden Daniels. They couldn't. CJ Stroud, they couldn't. There was nobody that you can help bridge that gap a little bit. If you can, a guy like almost how Michael Penix Jr. did. They did it a little bit too late with Kirk Cousins. But if you can sit for a while and get the game and the travel and, able to, watch film and, digest the game plan, if you can do that, I think it'll benefit a quarterback, especially a rookie.
In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham, I'm your boy One Life Stu, Ryan Stewart. Appreciate that talk, Joe. I was really excited for the last few days about talking about Joe on this show. You and I have talked about him his entire career. We've seen and talked about all 41 of his college starts.
Yes.
So I was really excited to come to the table and share a lot of the things that we've talked about the past few years with our viewers and listeners on this platform. And what I'm not going to do is talk about the depths and the details of all of our conversations. That's not important. Why are you laughing? Joe, why are you laughing? Official college football rankings are out. At least 10 teams have a legitimate shot at the title. Joe's got his eyes on number 2. I'll tell y'all the top 10 ranking right now. Miami, LSU, Alabama, that's 10 through 8. Oregon, Notre Dame, Georgia, that's 7 through 5. And the final 4 are the top 4. Clemson at 4, Ohio State at 3, Penn State at 2, and Texas at 1. The word on the street, Joe, is that this season is a season where there is no telling who can win the championship. They're saying that this year there's a litany of teams and players that have a shot at getting it all done. Sir, please share your thoughts and tell me why you really like Penn State when it comes to the top 10 this year.
Who are you fatigued of, Stu? I'll ask you that first and foremost. Which one of these teams, or you can go beyond the top 10, any off the top of your mind, what team are you, any teams that you're fatigued of?
No. And I only did the top 10 teams.
And when I say fatigued, I'm talking about winning.
I know exactly what you mean. Not only am I not fatigued about any of these teams, okay? I'm looking and seeing Miami in the top 10. I'm looking and seeing Arizona at 11. I'm looking and seeing Illinois at 12. I'm looking and seeing South Carolina in the top 15 at 13. I'm looking and seeing SMU at 16. Kansas State at 17. Indiana at 20. Iowa State at 22. Boise State is in the top 25. I love the parity in college football, sir. I am not tired of any team that deserves to be in that top 25 that I just named just now.
Absolutely not. And that's why I love it so much, because even Alabama now, if they were to win the national championship, I think they're enough or a long enough time to be removed from they win it all the time. Even Georgia now, you would say, you're not Georgia fatigued. Yeah, Kirby Smart is a good coach and they'll be up there. But even Ohio State, they just got over that hurdle. Clemson and Dabo Swinney, not overlooked at all, not fatigued at all. When was the last time they won one? Now you're getting back to Penn State. Now you're getting Oregon in the mix. Now you're talking Texas is in the mix. That's since Vince Young that they won the national championship. So
you got a team in South Carolina that came on real strong towards the end of last year, that's got a coach that is a legacy coach, that's got a coach that understands ball, been around it his entire life, and they've got one of the better quarterback and sellers that's going to be back there. I mean, people just can't turn their nose up at the Gamecocks either, Joe.
Absolutely not. And before I get to James Franklin, I want to let you know on something I read, and I had to do a double take. This is the first time since 1940 something or 50 something, Stu, that the number one preseason team and the number one preseason team is an underdog in their opening game. Now I get it. Ohio State is top 4. I think they're top 4. Yep. And so that's parity in itself. And I know the games are going to be played in the horseshoe.
Ohio State's preseason top 25, number 3, and Texas, of course, is number 1.
So 1 and 3, and number 1 is an underdog on the road. I get it, is in the horseshoe. But to me, that shows you parity.
2.5 points, sir. I took the points in Texas. I already took it. They giving the number 1 team 2.5? Really?
Yep. And you know, somebody on that panel, they're gonna have to explain to me why Texas is so high. I would pick Ohio State as well because they lost a lot. And I believe in Arch Manning, but they lost a whole lot. And our brother, James Franklin, shout out to James Franklin, man, because after Coach Franklin. Because Billy O'Brien is really giving the transition from God Bless the Dead, Joe Paterno, and that scandal. It was Billy O'Brien, and he left to go to the Texans. And then right after that, then came in James Franklin. And ever since, Penn State has been up there as far as a program.
They've gotten better.
Ascending.
Yes.
But his record against top 10, top 5 teams, you don't want to even look at that. He's afraid that when that comes up. He said out of his own mouth that this is the best team he's ever coached, from Vanderbilt to Penn State.
You got to be careful when they do that. You got to be careful when they do that.
Drew Aller, the returning quarterback, I put him up there with Nussmeier. I put him up there with Sellers. I put him up there with all those guys as far as being Arch Manning, top notch. He's going to be returning a lot of skill positions. They lost their tight end. But if he can't do it this year, in the Big Ten, where the schedule is a little bit easier. It's not the easiest, but easier. When are you going to do it, James Franklin? Right. And when, I wanted to bring this, and I have this written down, I wanted to bring this up to you, Stu. When, as a coach like James Franklin, are you considered, when the last national championship that you won was 1986, you went undefeated, and they didn't crown you in 1994 with Kajana Carter and Kerry Collins and those boys. When is a guy with that much success as a James Franklin become on the hot seat? Or is he can do what continues to do each year, top 2 ranking this year,
let's talk about this,
and not win a national championship, in your opinion?
Let's talk about this real quick.
Right before you say that, remember, we put Ryan Day on the hot seat without winning.
Listen.
But Ohio State had won a championship, I think, with Urban Meyer.
Okay.
Like 2014 and so like that. So that's what I want to say. Yeah.
It depends on the institution and who they are. Because if they're a mainstay like an Ohio State or like a Texas or like a Penn State or like an FSU or like a Florida or a Notre Dame, if they're one of those schools where since we've been kids, they've won multiple championships like a Texas, like a Clemson. Mm-hmm. If it's one of those programs and you're getting 10 to 11 wins per season, you just can't fire those guys when things don't go the way you want it to go. You just can't, in my eyes. You just don't fire those guys when they fall a game or 2 short from a championship. If you're getting 10 to 11 wins per year, that means every year you're in the fight for it all.
Yes, sir.
And there's nobody in my eyes that's going to win it every year. There's nobody that's going to do what Kirby Smart has done at Georgia, winning 2, 3 titles in 5, 6 years. That rarely happens if you look over the history. So I was a guy that said the Georgia Bulldogs, y'all are crazy for firing Mark Richt. Y'all are crazy for him to go someplace else. He gets y'all 10 to 12 wins a year, and y'all are in the mix in the SEC every year, as tough as that is. How dare y'all have the testicles to fire him? Yep. However, with revisionist history here, looking back at it, they did the right thing. Right. Because they brought a guy in that immediately started winning, that immediately started recruiting better, that immediately kept a great quarterback. So my way of thinking clearly was dead wrong.
Yeah.
And Georgia did it right. So to answer your question, those guys that's winning 10 to 12 games a year, like Coach Franklin, like Dabo Sweeney, those guys that's doing things like that, how Deion is building a culture right now. With what if Deion can win 10 to 11 games a year, 9 to 11 games a year, with the last 20 years that Colorado's had, they'd be a fool to fire him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's my thought. And I know a lot of people that disagree with me and think they should do it the way that Georgia's done it.
Well, it's the big bad. It's the big bad fan base. It's the big bad alumni. It's the big bad that I have the best team, coach, and program in the country. Nobody touches us, and they don't come to reality. That's what it is. Because again, Penn State, are you perennially winning national championships like you alluded to, or are you up there in the mix? James Franklin, are you going to consider him a failure? It's hard because I was one of the Ryan Day fans that says, who you going to get to bring it in here and put you over the hump? Is it just X's and O's? Is it the luck of the Irish, so to speak? A ball bounced this way, a ball bounced that way. But I think it all goes back to the program. Deion can do that at Colorado. Deion can stay there for 20 years, winning 10, 11 games of visas at Colorado. I don't think Sark can stay there at Texas and do that.
Well, and Texas hadn't won no titles, but yes, they are one of the programs that's got the financial means and the necessities, and they're in an area where those fans and that alumni are not going to allow him to stay there. You got coaches that win 9, 10 games and get fired at that institution. I don't think
Kalen DeBoer, he's not gonna get a pass. I mean, my goodness.
Not Bama.
And you know what? And that's the thing about it. That's why I'm glad I brought this up to you, because he can go to the Final Four.
Right.
He can make the playoffs.
And it won't be enough.
No.
So, on the heels of Nick Saban winning 5, 6 titles, it's not going to be nowhere near enough.
So as a staff, as an alumnus of somebody with the Nittany Lions, Penn State, I have a lot of respect for that program. Is it national championship or bust? I mean, you're starting the season off number 2. I mean, and you're in the Big Ten, and for some schools, it's that. For Ohio State, for the Alabamas, the Georgias, maybe you want to throw Texas, not necessarily Texas because they hadn't done it in a while. I think Dabo Sweeney, those guys think it's on the line of, hey man, we ain't winning championships, man. What's happening?
Okay, in the huddle with Joe Ham, 2 Tech grads, and I love saying that. I just didn't play football at Georgia Tech. I'm not just a former Georgia Tech athlete. I am a Georgia Tech graduate, and I love saying
across that stage and shook the president's hand.
Right. Me and the president had a moment. Actually, me and the president had a couple of moments, but yes, I shook his hand. So I like saying that. Joe, Paul Johnson kept the job at Georgia Tech for over a decade, 12 years.
Yeah.
Were we complacent to keep him? He wouldn't compete for no titles. He was only winning 8 to 10 games a year, but he won 8 to 10 games a year. He won a few ACC titles. Were we complacent by keeping him as long as we did? Because we didn't get anywhere near a title opportunity with him.
No. What we did was we did exactly what we needed to do under the tutelage of Paul Johnson. Exactly. We handled that situation exactly right. Paul Johnson, remember, took you to the Orange Bowl, won an Orange Bowl. Excellent. Top 10 ranking. Excellent. So went down to Carolina and played in the Dr. Pepper ACC championship game against Jameis Winston. Excellent. But that's it. When he started to falter, when things started to be not winning seasons, when you broke the record that I think it started back in 1997, is going to 21, 22, or 23 straight bowls. Okay. When that started to happen, you could no longer. When you went, the most embarrassing time I had on the flats, and I was on staff then, and that hurt me most, is that you go from Orange Bowl to no bowl. That's not who Georgia Tech is. So I can understand when you get to be seniors in an older team and you go Orange Bowl and then drop off and you go to the Music City Bowl or you go to the Idaho Bowl or Potatoes Bowl, but not no bowl. That's a drastic drop off. So I think Coach Johnson started to not win those 8, 9, and 10 games a season, and that cost him. But if you at Georgia Tech, and I'm a realist, and I love talking and chopping it up with you and guys that we understand the realization of it, we're not competing for a national championship every year. What we do is when guys get older, juniors, redshirt seniors, redshirt juniors, we compete for a championship. And then we fall back to 8 and 9 wins, and then all of a sudden we go back to 11 and 12 wins. Perennially, probably won't make the top 4, always making the playoffs, but we will get there eventually. And this is one of those years that I expect us to do so.
Wrapping things up in the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Make sure you catch Doug and I tomorrow morning, the Two Live Stews on the Two Live Stews Experience right here, Stewart Media and Entertainment on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Joe, can the ACC make some noise in this year's national championship run? Yes! Is there a way that the ACC can find a position to be in the picture when it comes to getting it all done?
Yes, I love it. And I don't care what anybody says about me riding the coattail of the Clemson Tigers. If they're the guys that bring it back home to the ACC, so be it. Miami, Carson Beck, can you put the money aside? Can you look at what your future is going to be as far as projected last year, #1 overall pick? Can you return back to that Carson Beck with the Miami Hurricanes? And let's not forget, explosive SMU. They're in the ACC. Yeah. So who knows where they come out from.
I think Florida State with the quarterback transfer that they got, the kid that played was he at Central Florida a while back?
Yes. And see, I don't want to get carried away saying that winning the national championship is
Central Florida and BC. He played with Billy O'Brien last year, I believe. Had 1,000 yards rushing, right? 1,000 yards on the ground.
Castellanos.
Him. That's
yes.
Right.
Yes. So don't misconstrue me saying that you must win this national championship and that's the only way back to relevancy. No, I'm talking about when you can get 3, 4 teams into the playoffs. When you each and every week that you got games that come down to the wire within the conference, and when your conference plays against the SEC or other conferences, they're coming on top.
In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham, I'm your boy One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Hey man, any closing words? Outstanding job today. We didn't get a few things, man, but outstanding job today. I really, I'm excited, man. This is fun. I enjoy this, man. I enjoy this.
I don't know. The thing I want to not get off my chest but discuss with you is that somehow, some way, we're going to have to get to the listeners before Wednesday in football season. Now, I don't know because, again, we weren't Shedeur Sanders talk out. We weren't late to the party.
Oh, no.
We weren't late to the party, and we still were factual and had a great buzz going.
It's still a prevalent, or it's still a very present conversation that's being had.
So it's just going to happen to some of these Saturdays and some of these Sundays that we're going to want to jump right on it.
I'm not opposed to that.
We're going to want to jump right on it.
Here on Stewart Media and Entertainment, we're not opposed to more content. We're trying to find more programming. Trust me. We got a handful of shows right now, 3 or 4 shows. We got people that can do a show. We got Arlie Wood that's going to bring her show to the network here soon. Tree does a show a couple times a year. So we're seeking more programming. So let's do it. I mentioned Tuesday and Thursday last week, but you're right. Saturday, Sunday football. Do we want to do something early before the games? Do we want to do something after the games? It's limitless opportunities, man, but we need and want the programming, sir.
And it almost can be nothing scheduled, just a 30-minute. We right here, I'm down here, wherever we got time, a quick pop-up. Did you just see that? As it happens. But Stu, as I talked to you just hour and change, man, I'm thinking now, man, Shedeur Sanders got a slight chance, man, to make Joe Flacco play in this preseason. Okay, that's my closing thoughts. You want the closing thoughts? That's my closing thoughts right there. Is the fact that if Shedeur Sanders keeps ascending and progressing the way he is progressing and performs well like this, especially in this joint practice with the Philadelphia Eagles,
right?
He's going to force Kevin Stefanski to play Joe Flacco in the preseason.
Or are they just a shit organization that will not say we were dead wrong to do and say and treat this kid the way that we did, so we're not going to bury him on the depth chart? Or are they willing to bury him on the depth chart to save face?
For right now, I'm separating Kevin Stefanski from that.
Okay.
But if he continues to do what he's doing, just laissez-faire so much in the media about Shedeur Sanders and his performance. I'm going to have to put them right in the piece of type of organization.
Younger brother 8923 Joe Pa never beat Ohio State and Michigan in the same year. Where are all these expectations coming from?
And that's a great question by Jungle Brother.
Okay,
that's
real quick,
a great
Jungle,
one. That's great. That's
remember
great,
what you're
Jungle.
about to say. Remember what you're about to say. You're right. He never beat Michigan or Ohio State in the same year, but both of those games, both of those teams are like national championships for Penn State. So the fact that he would win one of them yearly may have been why he was kept around for 40 years.
And you know what? Jungle Brother just brought up something great. Are we still considering Penn State a blue blood?
Right.
Because that's why I wanted to ask you, are they still a blue blood to where
no
you can fire James Franklin for winning 11, 12 games a season? I don't think you can.
You got recruited by them. I got recruited by them from time to time. Courtney Brown, Cliff Dingle, from time to time, they would
Bobby Ingram,
Bill Kinney. From time to time, Bill Kinney would sneak in from Pennsylvania and come down to South Carolina and grab one or two players and take them back up to Penn State. That's still a very heralded program, sir.
Yep.
So, yes, I do think there's still a blue blood. I really do. Let's see. I see my man, the great Pierre Bella, former buddy of mine I used to hang out with. Shouts out to you, Pierre. Thanks for listening, man. Go Gamecocks, 9-2. 9-2, Joe, and if their quarterback gets hot, maybe they get a 10-win season.
Well,
maybe they find a chance at winning their side of the SEC. What do you think?
They have the Jimmies and Joes now. Shane Beamer's done an outstanding job of recruiting, so you can compete with the depth. And you have your quarterback. I don't think that's out of the picture at all. And as I'm thinking about Shane Beamer in the Gamecock, can he be one of those guys that can be there 10 years? Or you think there's another team that can come calling and he leaves? I always wonder that when guys building programs.
Beamer ball. His dad was at Virginia Tech forever.
Good point.
And maybe you correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm blowing smoke, you correct me. South Carolina's a program that you see what Don Staley's done building championships. The school will support the team. They got 100,000+ seat stadium. Columbia is a good place to be. Yes, there's probably some programs that will call it. He would have to consider them the Notre Dames or the Southern Cals or the Floridas or something like that. But that's a great situation to have at the University of South Carolina.
No correction needed, sir.
Okay.
Spot on.
Yeah, I want to make sure I ain't blowing nobody's smoke.
No.
NFL Network had a lot of viewers over the weekend. DJ Chuck, appreciate that, man. Yeah, the NFL did have a lot of viewers over the weekend. It was the first preseason weekend. Yes, you're right, DJ Chuck. However, them games wasn't logging 2.23 million people. Come on, we spoke the truth about that.
And shout out to the blockbuster deal. Shout out to the blockbuster deal that ESPN signed with the NFL,
right.
brother.
Oh my gosh, they're just incredible, man. They're truly a juggernaut in that space. Younger brother, ball don't lie in regards to Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, he had a great game. I think I got one or two more I'm gonna read, man, before we get out of here. Russell and Jameis should have never came to the Giants with Daboll as the head coach. Yeah, it's easy to say that, man, but them cats be wanting and needing a job. And a lot of people had passed up on Russell to that point. A lot of people had passed up on Jameis to that point. So, yeah, when an NFL team calls you and they got a quarterback coach like Daboll, you take that chance.
Oh, absolutely. And let's just revisit how it went. Jameis was first, and he thought he was going to be the starter.
Right.
And then Russell went after them and said, Russell, you're going to be the starter. So they were going there to start. And now Jackson Dart, man, they just bridge gap. At this point in their career, those guys know that we're bridge gapping. Jameis Winston, man, he has a future in any of my teams. I love the guy.
He'll be a backup in this league for the next 5 to 7 years.
Yes.
And he will start a few games every year for the next 5 to 7 years. Another one from DJ Chuck. That'll be our last one for the day. Shedeur Sanders played a good game. He was calm inside the pocket, made some good throws, especially on the touchdown pass between the defenders. And something that I wanted to highlight about Shedeur in his game was he skedaddled. He skedaddled out of there 3 or 4 times. had 11, 12 yards per rush on like 2 of them. So yeah, he moved the pocket and got out of the pocket when he needed to. He made good, sound football decisions.
Hey, how would you like some?
Thank you, Trump. Appreciate you.
How would you like if somebody said described you on the football field? Described you as a football player.
I would like to be described. Someone said this years ago when I was at Georgia Tech. Ryan Stewart is the spark that starts the fire, whether he's on the field or not. I thought that was me. When that guy, I forgot who said that or who wrote that, I was honored to hear that because I'm an effort guy. I'm an effort, energy, and enthusiasm guy that leaves it on the field every single snap.
Boy,
I take it upon myself to attempt to make a play between every whistle if I'm on the field.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm looking for my mouthpiece. Put me in, coach. That is awesome. Stu, that is awesome. But again, when you went to yourself, I'll go to myself. I asked you that question, I'll answer as well. I wanted to be known, and somebody said, I don't know who said it, but they said that guy is a football player. A football playing Jesse.
Yeah.
And that's who Shedeur Sanders is.
Yeah.
That's it. And sometimes, sometimes quarterback want to distance themselves away from that. But all that means is that we'll do whatever it takes. Put me in, coach. You need me to, sneak for this first down. You need me to give me this body. You need me to do whatever. I'll do it for the team. And I know how to play the game. That is Shedeur Sanders, man. I love the guy. I absolutely love the guy.
Outstanding job today, man. We appreciate you.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
Looking forward
man.
to next week, man. And as more football keeps popping up, we may keep popping up as well. So we'll see you next week. Outstanding job, sir.
Man, good
Everybody
stuff,
that's watching the show, man, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know him and need to find him and show him love, that's all he's showing you, nothing but love. Catch us again next week, right here, same platform, same time, same network, Stewart Media and Entertainment. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock with the Two Live Stews on the Two Live Stews Experience. And until then, y'all be careful out there in them streets, man. We appreciate y'all.